Morning. Welcome to another off the cuff chat with me, FPL Mez 8. And today I've got a really special guest with me. I've got Ray joining us all the way from the UK. Obviously, I'm based in Sydney. So, hey, Ray, how are you? How are you this evening?
I'm very good, Mez. Thank you so much for having me.
About time, right?
The whole time I was thinking, when the hell is she going to invite me? No, I know. I was checking my post, I was checking emails, I was checking tweets, I was checking my MySpace messages, I was checking everything, and then
Oh, wow.
finally,
Your MySpace messages.
finally.
Oh, I love that. I love that. That's brilliant. Ray, thank you so much for agreeing to come on as well. Like,
Of course, of
obviously, this
course.
started in a very kind of impromptu, off the cuff, very much off the cuff, actually, because I think, like, actually, just as a quick sort of intro to it. So these started as very much one-sided conversations that I was having, with myself, I guess, and the FPL community on Twitter. So it was very much this is how my season is going. These are the transfers I'm thinking about doing, and yeah, and everything in between as well, like just complaining about my game week and complaining about my transfers or just everything. And it
Yeah.
went from like one-sided conversations to occasionally having guests on, and then I've had a whole flurry of guests on as well, so thank you so much. But what people don't probably know is that this idea kind of came from, well, a suggestion came from you, Ray, and a very sort of light-hearted conversation that you and I were having when I was over in the UK. And so yeah, thank you for encouraging me to do something like this. And then obviously it's become a let me just pop it up on YouTube. Ta-da!
Yeah. Well,
So
I mean, oh, sorry. Yeah.
no, go no.
No, I mean, because, obviously, we met when you were here for the fest and the meets and the fest. And that was fantastic because we've been wanting to meet for a while. And hilariously, Sutton, and we were just talking about stuff randomly.
Yeah.
And then I think by then you would have returned home, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you would have returned home.
Uh
And we were just having a conversation. No,
yeah.
when we spoke on the phone about the inception of this idea.
Yeah.
And, I was saying to you that, you're logical in football. There isn't enough uh, spaces in regards to female content creators. I spoke to you about that.
Mm,
I was very open about that. And, it helps that you had such a fantastic season last season as
yeah.
well. I think you finished inside the top 5K, am I correct?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Or top 3.5K or something ridiculous like that, but who's
Two
counting?
and a half K. Who's counting?
Oh no, no, I can only dream of that.
Oh my
So,
god.
and then you had a lot to say, and I said you need to put this in audio, and you've just done that. But it's just
Yeah.
kind of I gave you some feedback of what I think you
I
could
think
try, and you tried it, and you've done
Yeah,
brilliantly.
it's always challenging because like when you follow a lot of like content in general, like I think my second season I started following less content, but in my first season I was following a lot of content, just to kind of
Yeah,
get familiarized with FPL and just kind of learn the game, that kind of thing. And when you see content creators, you sort of go, oh wow, it's so fancy, it's so flashy, and they've got all these amazing sort
yeah,
of like design on their screen as well. And I can be a bit of a perfectionist in like the type of work that I do and all of that kind of thing. And so I was like, I'm never going to be able to do something like that. So I need something to be super low fidelity, super simple, and like very, very straightforward. So yeah, and
yeah.
so I think in this scenario, it made sense for me to just kind of keep it low fidelity by using spaces. So, I hadn't even like really used spaces so much.
No,
But
you had.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But it's nice to see, spaces like pop up and you can see who's speaking on them. You can just tune in, tune out, that kind of thing. And I remember like the first time I came across, like, I mean, we'd been chatting a fair bit of time on Twitter anyway, or when it was Twitter as well, actually. And I remember sort of catching you on spaces where you were singing a song. Can you remember what that song was?
Yeah, tequila, but instead it was saliva.
Saliba. That's right. That's right. And I think I tuned,
That's how the inception of our friendship started. It
basically.
was me singing a stupid song, and Dan Blackwolf was like, "Ray, they never get it right," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, hold my beer,"
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then
I was like, wait, I think I missed it. And then you sang it again. I was just like, this is brilliant. And now it's stuck in my head. Shit.
you're welcome. Or
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. Yeah, so that really stuck with me. But no, look, I've really enjoyed like our banter and just interactions on Spaces. It's always been it's always been fun to chat and stuff. So yeah, no, I really appreciate it. But
Nah, of
yeah,
course.
we finally got to see each other as well. So that's so funny about like Sutton. Like, I'm gonna put this massive photo of us on the screen there. That's so funny as well because like I used to live in Sutton for a short while. Not sort of I think I was there for about a year or something like that. But it's right around the corner from
Yeah,
where like my family lives in Croydon, and so I think it was always
yeah,
going to be a little bit easier to try and sort of meet up with you in the south of London kind of thing, or
yeah.
southwest-ish of London, isn't it? So yeah, I'm so glad that we got to catch up and just have a bit of a chit chat, have a couple of beers, and yeah, I think that day, I'm not sure what was going on. I think I sort of, oh, that's right, I was meeting my sister for dinner. We went to Heen's
Yep.
just around the corner as well. So yeah, that's
Ridiculous.
one of my favorite places. It's so funny. So funny. But what a small
Uh,
world.
I mean, yeah, chat basically is that, after I, sang the tequila song about Saliba, then Mez and I just started DMing and stuff. And she goes, "Oh, where in London do you live?" And I told her I live in Sutton. And she goes, "No way, I used to live in Sutton." And then she was mentioning about Heen's, which is like one of the best Chinese restaurants I've ever had. And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Over there, and the Italian as well. So, it caught fire straight away, our friendship. And then when you came to visit, because it was family stuff and all that.
Yeah.
We made a point to try and just have some time together to talk and obviously speak about the ends in Sutton and everything. And then
Yeah.
obviously we're at the meets and we would never be able to have a proper conversation at
No,
meets because there's
no.
like 50, 60 people and stuff like that. And then after we had the fest, but I think you had to fly, didn't you? You had to
I
go.
did, yeah, yeah. I had to change my flight and everything. That was insane. So I was going to go to Fest, and then,
Because
you
you had
know,
a new project, because you had
yeah,
a new
yeah.
project to kick off.
That's
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's right. It's insane. And so like and I'd already taken off a lot of time from work, right? So every time I take time away from, work, and for me work is running my own business. And so, I've got a team over here as well, and it's nice. Like they're a great team. My business partner's amazing as well. But every time I take time away, I feel ever so slightly guilty as well, especially when there's more to do while I'm away. It doesn't happen often,
Yep.
but when it does, when it rains, it pours, right? So yeah, it got pretty hectic, and so I had to change my flight. Couldn't make it, to Fest, but was able to make it to Meets. The funny thing was, I had to leave Meets by, I think it was like 4 p.m. or something like that, to get home by 5 p.m. so that I can have a really quick dinner and head to the airport by 6 p.m. So it was insane that I even dared to make it to Meets. But I'm so glad that I did,
Amazing.
because it was so lovely to meet everyone as well, and well, to meet you again, but also to chat to the guys like like FPL fella like Dan, Nima, Andy, FPL Mode. Like that,
Yeah.
I got to just meet a whole bunch of people that
Yeah.
I'd been interacting with online, and sort of to see in person was, yeah, it was fantastic. Um, but yeah, so good to catch up as well. I think like I realized that we had, obviously so much in common as well. So yeah, it was really good to just get to know you a bit more, in person as well. And but yeah, like I say, thank you so much for encouraging me to do something like this and just chatting about FPL, but
All
also
good.
like everything else as well, which is so nice. And we don't get very often through, the online sort of content that we've got available to us. And so I
Y-
really love the
y-
stuff that you do as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, tell us
Oh God.
tell us a bit about that. So Ray, you're on
Oh
you're on a couple
man.
of things actually. Yeah, you've had
I
a
used to be on a lot more before we met.
really
I
okay,
used to I used to put myself out there a lot. I was very loose per se.
very
So
loose.
yeah. So I'll be honest with you, it's quite funny because I've had Twitter or X for about 12 years now, but I've only really been active on it for maybe 3, 4 years now,
Right. Okay.
since kind of finding FPL. So a little bit of Ray history, if that's okay. So I
Yeah,
have
please.
been a Sun Dream Team player for over 20 years, with the Sun,
Oh, wow.
where back when you could win money when you're manager a month, and there
Mm,
was never more than maybe 500,000 players. But you can make multiple teams until now. Only this season you couldn't. But I always only had one team because I love the challenge of having one
yeah.
team, seeing how far you can get focusing on one team. And yeah, I was and I was doing really well in that game. And then about 4 seasons back, yeah, because I've done 3 seasons. This is my fourth, but I did one season just on my friend's email.
Yeah.
The reason for that is because we always have like our, you know, friend kind of bet. Like right, we go what we're playing this season. We'd always play like the Telegraph, but mostly the Sun. And then one year the vote was to do FPL. And
Oh,
I was like, yeah,
okay.
whatever. What could this game be? And it was a completely different world because you build a squad, you don't build 11 players
Yeah.
because it's always been 11 players. Then you got chips. And then it just became all encompassing, isn't it? It's just such a ridiculously filled game that when I was really learning how to play the game,
Yeah.
I was following a few content creators, and one of them was Nymphria, that you and I both know. And
Yes.
she used to have a show called FPL Wildcats with herself, JNO, Brett, one more and he'll kill me. But basically, used to have the show, and I used to like watch in. And then one time, I saw someone actually become a guest, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" And Meera, and a lot of people will know that I'm not shy. I say what I think, and then I contacted them. I said, "Oh, you had a guest. I'd love to be a guest."
Yeah.
And I remember specifically it was Halloween 2021 or 2020.
Yeah.
I think it was 2020, yeah, because I was in my old place and I guested on there, did half well, and I said I'd love to be involved, and that's where it started.
No
I
way.
started with the
Wow.
Wildcats,
Yeah. Amazing.
and then I built my if you like, the following really quickly. Like it went from like 200 to like 3,000 in like 6 months. I was pulling out a lot of content in regards to FPL and stuff because I was doing quite well those seasons, top 100K finishes.
Nice.
And then what else? And then I started my own channel, where
Oh, I
my
didn't
guests are
realize.
more around. Yeah, my guests are more around football, and
Yeah.
it's still open. But so, for example, I've done Abdul, I've done Dan, I've done
Yeah.
FPL Lens, I've done Nima, I've done TED,
Mm.
FPL TED Talks and stuff. Where I've done James, I've done Surge from Planet FPL,
Oh,
where it's
amazing.
their
Yeah.
support of their team. So
Yeah.
it's why I'm a Spurs fan,
Yeah.
and then I
Gotcha.
reverted it to FPL as well. So, and then yeah, started other things with Dan, who with the FPL way, and then
Yeah.
I've been a juice pundit for about 3 years. I was an OG juice pundit. I was like the first one.
Oh,
So
wow. Yeah. No. And then you've been doing also the only bonus one? Only one bonus.
only one bonus
Yeah.
point with RJ and Law.
Yeah.
Yeah, I somehow crept my way onto that as
That's,
well.
yeah.
I went to
I
them and I
loved
said
it.
I'd love to be involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can see it's very light-hearted, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
what I love. It's
Mm.
like this. It's not so serious. We're enjoying ourselves.
That's
We're not
right.
reading from stats.
That's
We're just
right. There's enough
we're just
con
bantering,
There's enough of
shooting the
that.
shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a few go-to
Yeah.
places that I love, I love going to for the stats, right? And then there's some in between ones as
Exactly.
well, like Black Wolf and the Press Play podcast that they do over in
Yeah.
the States. I love that because there is some stats in there. There's some good football conversation and FPL conversation, but there's also great banter as well. And it's
Yeah.
kind of similar with FPL Planner over here who does FPL IQ with a bunch of guys,
Tonight.
yeah,
Sorry.
like it's yeah. But it's so good because there's a lot of good like detail around the stats and how the players are
Mm.
playing and FPL lens to it as well. But really good conversation in between as well. And I think that those are the ones that I
Yeah.
really, do enjoy the most and love tuning into and, for the banter and everything. So, yeah, and I'm glad, you're doing what you're doing, and I'm like enjoying doing what I'm doing as well. So I really do appreciate like the planting the seed anyway in my head to go ahead
No,
and
all
do
right,
something
no
like
worries.
this.
Okay, you can stop now. Yeah, I know I'm great. All right. So anyway,
But
but
Ray,
there's something.
yeah,
Wait,
go
wait, wait. There's
no,
some there's something else as well that I have to mention is that
yeah,
uh, I think when I was kind of like trying to build my FPL profile, I guess, first of all, decent ranks help, to be honest, you know?
Mm,
So, but also it was kind of, I filtered myself too much because I was kind of like, I was still trying to work out what I wanted to do, if that makes sense.
yeah,
But then all these years later, I'm very much like, I do what I want kind of thing. And if I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it kind of thing, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
It doesn't pay me. So therefore, this is supposed to be a leisure, a pleasure. Does that make sense?
That's
So,
right.
you know, the
That's right.
moment that that stops, then Mez, I stop,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
And
just,
you know what? That's exactly what it's been for me as well. Like I genuinely have had a lot of a lot of positive response. You know, a lot of people contact me to say love to be on your show as a
yeah.
guest, which is so nice, very humbling. And I'm sort of I'm sort of wondering, thinking, why though? You know,
Mm.
it's a terrible idea. Like, why would you want to come on? No, I'm only joking. It's no, but it's been so lovely to sort of get that kind of response as well, and I'm enjoying it. And for me, it is very much about
Yeah,
just having a good conversation, having the banter, talking about FPL
yeah,
journey basically. So as soon as that gets difficult and hard, that's when I'll stop doing it. So like I haven't done, the last time I did an off the cuff was with Andy FPL mode 2 weeks ago. And so
yeah.
last week, because of all the fixtures, I was traveling for work as well. I just couldn't squeeze anything in, and I didn't want to
Mm.
try and do that either, because it just makes it more stressful. And yeah, and I don't want the stress. FPL's already a little bit stressful, so
Yeah. You don't want to half-ass it just for the sake of getting
no,
content out. You'd rather do it properly. So
exactly.
what's the difference of waiting a week or two?
And
Yeah.
because it's fun, and because it's fun. But Ray, look, outside of so you probably know Peterson, who does the FPL SideNet podcast over here in Australia, with Andrew. Excellent podcast if you haven't checked it out. Just again, really good banter and good conversation about FPL in general. But anyway, he has a massive football shirt collection that he goes running in. And
Yeah, I know. They're
outside of like,
class.
yeah, they're so good. And I don't know anyone else who has a large collection of football shirts after Peterson. I think maybe you, or maybe like you guys are competing or something. But I'm always impressed with well, first of all, your Air Jordans, because I think like we tend to sync up whenever there's Air Jordans in the mix as well.
Hell
So
yeah. Hell
yeah,
yeah.
I'm a massive sneakerhead as well. I have so many. I've probably got more sneakers. I've got more sneakers than formal shoes, and even bags. I've got a lot of bags, right? This is proper cliche now, but I've got a lot of sneakers. But anyway, I've got a decent football shirt collection as well that I wear for when I play tennis. And, Peterson wears his when he's out for a run.
When he's running. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Ray, tell us about your shirt collection, and yeah, like where it started,
Oh.
and how it's going, and do you wear them for when you're doing anything in particular, or just just
I'm just looking at the photos and like, oh my God, I was slim a couple of years ago. Like I caught some good angles. So I think um prior to becoming an Arsenal fan, when I was like 7, 8, when my dad got me into Arsenal, my dad and my uncle actually, rest in peace, my uncle. It was mostly because I loved Ian Wright.
ah,
Ian Wright
okay,
is like the player that made me
yeah,
love football, if that makes sense.
yeah,
So it's probably a good, it was probably like 96. So, oh, all right, at that point I am 11, 12.
mm,
But I really started to get into it at that time, but in like 92, 93, when I'm 7, 8, Ian Wright is scoring we win the League Cup and FA Cup against Sheffield Wednesday, and Ian Wright scored in one of those games, and I just went mad. And then my love for kind of like further international football was from R9, the original Ronaldo.
yeah,
And I think from there, just the love of any kind of shirt that I feel is lovely. Like I've got random Turkish
yeah,
side shirts because I love the design, but then more of loads of Arsenal shirts and then a PSG one you see here, Messi,
mm,
Vietnam, because obviously Vietnam is my second home. I lived there for four
yeah,
years, Madrid, and I think my shirt count, I looked at it about 3 months ago, was about 74. I
mm.
think that's how many football
Oh
shirts I
wow,
have. Some given away to family and friends, which I'm really annoyed with myself about because I'm like, why are you doing that?
yeah,
Um, but I think it's probably a bit about up to 80 now. But we're talking about all kinds of things. We're talking about concept kits from like Football Manager, ones I've been given in the past from old football teams I had. Obviously, FPL Juice, I've got 3 shirts with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I think it's more. It's just I love wearing colors as well. Like I'm
Yeah.
not kind of like you were talking about cliche, but I'm not like that cliched. I'll only wear dark colors. Like I
Yeah.
like to
Fair.
wear like bright colors if it matches. I'm quite color coordinated. I like to
Yeah.
get the drip on point kind of thing. And yeah, like at this point, I was just doing loads of like football selfies. Some people asked me as well, and yeah, just adore it. But I think it's just more out of loving football itself, which made me buy these shirts. And I know it's a bit cringe, but I think when the certain kind of football shirts you buy that aren't your team, they're almost a personification of your character and personality as well, I
Yeah.
feel, because you'll see such a myriad of colors as well. Like I love that pink Barcelona
Yeah. It's
one.
so nice. It is so
Yeah,
nice. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, to
No, it's
answer your
great.
question in a long-winded way.
No, no, all good. And yeah, like yeah, I forget sometimes that you lived in Vietnam for 4 years, and and you didn't even visit me. Like Sydney's
I
just
didn't
around the
know you, bro.
Australia. Australia's just
Um,
around the corner. It's just a hop and a skip over.
It really is a hop and a skip. If I throw a stone hard enough, I'm sure I could hit something over there. But
Oh, I love it. I love it. So Ray, we should probably talk a little bit about FPL as well. Um,
you can ask me whatever you want. Anything personal, it's all good. I'm just
nah,
talking to a
I
friend
love
here.
it. I love it. Yeah. So how's your season been going so far? I'm gonna see if I can just grab your is it your team? So you had a fantastic game week 16 from the looks of things. So
Uh,
yeah, I mean, well, actually, before we talk about game week 16, yeah, how's the season been? Like, how did the season start? And yeah, how's it been so
it's
far?
been it's been very poor for me. Because um 3 seasons played, 3 top 100K finishes. So I'm very confident in my ability as a manager. I feel I'm a good manager. And I think like anything, you start with a template and the Gabriel news comes out, but I don't, we're at the fest, I had no signal, I couldn't make the Saliba change. And unfortunately, what was happening there is maybe like last season, 2 seasons ago, if you went for asset A rather than asset B and
Hmm.
asset B returns, you don't feel the hit, you don't feel it's such a it's such a big hit on your team if
Yeah.
that player B returns, for example. But where I feel now is the swings are so extreme
Hmm.
that, for example, I don't have Sun now.
Yeah.
Sun gets 17 points. It deterred me an additional 600,000.
Yeah.
Is that it's been so extreme that unfortunately I've just been hit ever since. I've not broken away from 2 million since game week 1.
Hmm.
And to be honest with you, it's kind of, everyone's saying and I'm not so far away. I'm only like 50 points off, no, 40 points off 1 million or something ridiculous like that. And it's like, oh, I just need that good week. That good week's not coming.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we're going to talk about it. But when I
Hmm.
took this minus 12, I was like,
I know.
well, I'm not, and it's going to be a great conversation, is that I'm kind of like, I hate how my team looks. So I'm just going to go for it. And also the gambles, 'cause
Yeah.
that's ultimately what it was. It wasn't about punt, it's gambles I took with the likes of Darwin, with the likes of Alvarez. They've returned, but they haven't returned big to the point where it compensates letting go of Watkins and Son. And I've suffered for that. So it's been a very difficult season, I must say. And it's very strange because my job is on operations, I'm about planning contingencies. That's why you and I get on as well. We talk
Yeah.
about, brain boxes being open with your teams and processes and
Hmm.
efficiency and creativity and stuff like that. Is the last 2 weeks I've legit not known what to do with my team. I'm like,
Oh my gosh, it's so.
I don't know.
As you were saying that, I was like, yeah, because like if it's your own team, right? If it's your own team, you can turn around and say, hey, I expected these results. Like, what is going on with you? You know,
Yeah.
why haven't you actually delivered, right? You can have that conversation and sort of go, mate, you need to do better. Come back, you know, come back next week and do better, kind of thing, right?
Yeah, they're not coming
But
back.
they're not.
I'm like, when are you gonna bloody return from your hiatus, you bastards? There's about 9 of you who are not performing for me,
Yeah,
and I'm getting beaten up.
you just reminded me of something as well. So I remember like chatting to a couple of mates over here who aren't they don't follow football. And they don't have a
Lucky,
clue.
lucky
Yeah, I know.
bastards.
They don't have a clue
So
about
lucky.
FPL as well. And I was explaining to them how I'm an FPL manager and this is how it works. And then you know, they must have checked in with me a couple of weeks ago and said, "Oh, how's your season going? Because you had a really good season last season. We remember. How's your season going?" I was like, "Oh, it's going really shit. You know, I feel like I'm not doing very well as an FPL manager." And they were like, "But you're a really good manager." And I'm like, "Not in the work context. That's not the same." But thank you.
That is
Oh
so
dear,
funny.
so
We
so
did a we
good.
did a very similar thing as well because um I'm completing my 8th week in my new job, and touch wood, everything is going really well.
That's
But
great.
I'm kind of like, we have like weekly catch-ups with the teams, and then we have a moment where we all just talk a little bit about what's been up. It's a good
Mm,
way of like getting the team bonding, growing, evolving the bond and
yes.
stuff, and starting to trust each other more. And then I told them about FPL. They're like, "What the hell is FPL?" And then I'm explaining it to them, and they're like, "Oh, okay." So, I told them about the last few seasons. They're like, "How you doing now?" And I'm like, 2.2 million. And the amount of laughs I got, they don't even know what the hell I'm talking
No.
about. But the fact that I put million, they're like, "How many players are there?" I'm like, "Only 10." And they're like, "Oh, so you're in the top 25% of the whole game." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm crap." I'm getting dissed by these people who don't even watch football. That's how bad it is. It's bad when
It's
a
so
person
good.
disses you
Yeah,
and they
yeah,
have no
yeah.
idea what they're talking
Yeah.
about.
I know. And the thing is, right, like I can totally understand how it must feel for, you know, for you and others that have been playing. I've got a couple of mates as well who I've met through the FPL community now, and you know, they're sitting at like 2-3 mil at the moment as well, and they've been playing for like 10-15 years as well. And so,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I am in my third season complaining about being 1.4 mil at the moment. Like, oh my God, read the room. I'm talking to someone who's like been playing for 15 years and is, you know, struggling at 2.6 mil or something like that. And I'm like, I'm so sorry, mate.
Not sorry, but yeah.
But it's been a really tough season, hasn't it? It's just been really
Yeah.
difficult to just I don't know, like are there do you remember any particular transfers that you've made earlier on or in between, you know, from like where we're only on like, you know, game week 16 anyway. But do any transfers stand out to you as sort of the ones that you feel maybe you should have jumped on or you shouldn't have jumped on
Yeah.
or, you know, anything
Yeah.
stand out for you?
Yeah, a few. I mean, probably about 5 weeks ago, and we're not well, we're reaching halfway to the season, but
Mm,
probably about 5, 6 weeks ago, there was a real opportunity for me to get Son before he went ham. No, sorry, before the Arsenal game.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember it was specifically before the so whatever that was, game week 5 or something. So I'm completely wrong.
Mm,
There was an opportunity to get Son because I was like, Son is playing Arsenal and Liverpool, two incredible defenses for him because
mm,
they play high lines,
yeah.
and he scored 3 goals and got an assist or something. It was absolutely phenomenal. And rather than get him, I rolled my transfer. And
Yeah.
the whole time I thought, don't do that, go for him. And the issue is that in a long-term play, I love the idea, and I already had Madison, but I could have easily doubled up and stuff
Mm,
like that. And I think that really kind of made me go on a downward spiral around the 3 million rank and stuff like that. Only recently have I had two before my rank.
yeah.
And then I think another one as well has been the likes of Gordon and Palmer. Like, I keep thinking that, oh, they're not going to keep it up. Like, it's just a little bit
Yeah.
of good form at the moment. But then you realize they're becoming the key cogs
Yeah.
for their teams. They're the main men of the creative
Mm,
cog. Like,
mm,
Gordon, I'd say, is their best attacker overall in regards to the fact that he can play in either wing and he
yeah.
can play as a false nine.
9.
And
Yeah.
Palmer's the bloody taker for God's sake. He's the penalty taker for God's sake
Yeah.
at that kind of price. And I would say those were the ones that really, really, really hit me. And I think maybe a bit of misfortune, like you take out Pickford in the wild card, he's bloody got like something like 48 points since game week 7 or something stupid.
Yep.
Ariola's got like 12 points. And we all got Ariola, didn't we, at that time?
Yep.
So, but I am the kind of individual where I'm like, I have made errors and I've known I've made errors.
Yeah.
And the thing is that rather than trying to buy last week's points, which I've done a couple of times, but it's more out of a gamble with the likes of Alvarez, with the likes of Darwin, total punt, with the likes of Nketiah, buying him a week too late when I could have got him the week he got the hat trick, is that I need to what I've realized that a lot of excuses I've heard, which I don't like, is, oh yeah, the casuals are doing well. I'm like, well, no, what's happening is that we as managers we're not picking the right assets at times.
Yeah.
We're believing too much in historical hype
Historical.
over
Yeah.
if they're performing. Reece James is a perfect example.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. No,
I think as
I know
managers,
what you mean.
we should be responsible. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And there's been a couple of those along the way, for me as well, where I've sort of gone, like I brought in Son and then I wildcarded him out. And then I feel like I got away with, not having Son for a little while. But every
Mhm.
time he gets even a few points, right, it still hurts my rank, it still sort of,
Big time.
affects me. And I've been trying really hard not to sort of look at the EO and just focus on the players that I'm bringing in. But then the players that I'm bringing in, like, we'll talk about your sort of your minus 12 in a as well. But like the players that I'm bringing in, I feel would return, right? So I brought in Diaz
Of
for
course.
his really good fixture run for a couple of weeks. Jota was out, just made sense. He's been getting the minutes, like he's definitely getting the minutes,
Yeah.
but just not getting the returns, right? So then you look
Yeah.
at those types of picks and you go, okay, Liverpool had a really good, probably not so much like with the next few coming up anyway, but they've had a really good fixture run the last 3 game weeks, and those were the perfect game weeks to have someone like a Diaz in the team. But I mean, Darwin as well, who's just not been returning over the last couple of game weeks as well. So yeah, not as much as we would like, right? So yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's really tricky because there are some good picks there, obviously, that we have made, but then there's also several picks there that haven't quite worked out. And I'm sort of, at that point of thinking, do I sort of go and grab the players that are hurting me the most? So like the Sons, and I didn't have Palmer in the team, but not having Palmer in the team wasn't hurting me so much. Or
Yeah.
do I just kind of like, yeah, suck it up and just keep going without some of these players as well? So it's a
Mm.
really tough one. But tell us about your
Mm.
minus 12. Like what sort of made you, because like I think the I think at any one time I've only ever taken like a minus 8. And I may
Yeah.
have done like a couple of weeks of back-to-back minus 4s and minus 8s, in my first season. But when I saw this, I was like, I think you solved a lot of problems, which was good, and you can see that in the final points that you got, which is still sort of higher than what I got when I show you my team. But yeah, what were you thinking like with the minus 12, and what did you actually do like with the transfers?
I think I think I had so many flags as well with the likes of Areola and of course in Mbumo, like I took out some for Mbumo and Mbumo gets injured and I'm like, this is just pissing me off now. Like, I'm not getting breaks. I think that's the
Yeah,
thing as well. I'm not getting breaks with these assets I'm bringing in early. And I think a lot of it was also with the fact that, there was a lot of players I wanted to jump on that are popular at the moment to set
yeah,
me up long term. And also, I want to take a punt or two, and that punt was Trent.
yeah,
Trent was that huge punt um, because I like the fixtures in regards to creativity, and also it's also very much look. I know what risks I'm taking here, but I have to just accept him and not just kind of knee jerk if it doesn't go well. And I like the players I've pretty much bought in. I'm sure we'll touch on Haaland in a moment because it's been a very exciting last couple of hours regarding news about him. Bloody
yes,
hell. Um, was that I'm like, right, what I'm doing, I'm setting up for 16, 17, 18. And then in 19, I can start to bring back the other guns like Sun and, for example, if everyone is fit who you see right now on the screen. So
Yeah.
I got lucky because Haaland didn't start, a Dingo came in. Brilliant.
Yeah.
That's 10 points. But yeah, it very much was. I needed a reset with my team, and I think honestly, Mira, I needed a reset of the funk I've been feeling with my team
Yeah.
because
Fair.
funnily enough, even though I have made, this is actually hilarious that I have made. Here we go. What's this? I have four greens from the last 5 game weeks, but I've only moved 1 million places, and that's low considering how many greens I've got in that time because the ranks are so isolated together. That in fact I've only got two reds since game week 8, and still I'm 2.3 million. Is that I need to start really, really making some big, big moves because it's game week 17 next week. There's
Yeah.
no more it's early anymore. There's no more it's early anymore. Like we're gonna go home real soon if I don't start to
Yeah. Yeah.
make some massive moves. And I think some of these players people have, but also are going to want because, for example, I think Alvarez against Crystal Palace is a massive differential shout with some of the players around my rank. And I think Trent could be the guy if that makes sense. He could be the one that propels me. And Darwin, I know what I get with Darwin. I know exactly what he is. I know
A
what kind of
menace.
annoying guy he is. But if he plays against Manchester United,
Oh yeah.
he
I'm
is one
looking
of the
forward to
best
that.
assets. He's one of the best assets if he plays against Man United because Liverpool creates so many opportunities and his off the ball movement is astounding
Yeah.
for opportunities. So yeah.
Absolutely, and yeah, I think it's great for Salah. Salah's great for Darwin as well. I'm really hoping, like, if I like show you, if I show you my team. So, like, look in
Yeah, a real
comparison,
team. Show me a real team
a
now.
real team. Oh my God, don't
We got the
stop,
same lineup almost.
stop. Yeah, but I got 44 points. And even then, I took a -4, so that was actually a 40 points total, which is awful, right? So, yeah, I again, when you look at it on paper, look, I'm glad that I got my vice captaincy right there because, yeah, I don't think I would have gone anywhere else. I wasn't even tempted,
Yeah.
with anyone else, but yeah, look, it's just been super disappointing. I took a -4. I took out, I can't remember who I took out. Maybe it was Cash. No, not Cash. Who did I take out for Porro? I can't remember now. I can't remember. But yeah, I brought in Porro. I took a -4. Quite happy, with the transfer. They brought in Palmer as well. Took out Mbumo. Oh, maybe it was Cash, actually. I think I took out... no, maybe not. I have no idea who I had in my team. This is how I feel about my team at the
Just
moment.
hit your previous in the game week for 15. So if you go top
Yeah.
left, and then
Who
you
did
can
I
kind of work
have?
it out.
Lascelles.
Yes,
That's
Lascelles.
right. That's right. That's right. Oh my God. Look at the blank, right? Like in my mind, I've sort of gone, yeah, let's just forget about this game week. It was
He's dead
so
to me.
terrible. It's
He's
dead to me. It
he's
was
dead
only
to me
40
already.
points.
Yeah.
That's right. I did you know what? I don't know if this was a good idea or not, but I had to take out, I think I took out Areola. I didn't have much money in the bank. Took out Areola, brought in Dubravka, took out Lascelles because kind of got the sense that Lascelles is probably going to start getting benched soon, Botman, back soon anyway. So I took a -4, brought in Porro.
Hmm.
The plan was actually not to do something like that and bring in Son, funny enough, in game week 17, but I was very tempted for game week 16 as well. I had exact money to do so. And then decided, actually, no, I'm going to take the -4 because my goalkeeper's become a problem now. And rightfully so, but then Turner played. So I was like, what the fuck, man?
Oh my God. That was the thing I was most angry about. It wasn't even about the Udogi last minute clean
No.
sheet blank after he scored for me. It wasn't the fact San got a jammy penalty and scored, and then, I would have been 1.7 million if it went my way just with those two results. It was more the fact that flipping Turner played,
Yeah.
got 2 points, and Dubravka, I basically lost -4 there because I didn't need to bring him in
Yeah.
because Turner would
Yeah.
have played.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just
That's what I was angry about. I was angry about a bloody goalkeeper.
I know, and this is what I mean. Like it threw me off course a little bit as well, and I feel like this is what's happened with me this season as well. I didn't have a great start to the season, and then I've gone and tried out lots of different things to try and compensate for, what hasn't
Yeah.
been a great season, and largely due to luck. Largely due to luck
Mm,
as well. Like, it's not
mm.
like my picks have been terrible. Like, I'm, quite happy with the moves that I've made along the way. Yes, I took out Son when I did, on a wild card, but then he didn't like score massive amount of points, for the next couple of game weeks after that. But he has been explosive every
Agree.
now and then, right? So there's been players like
Exactly.
Mbumo that's hurt me. There's been, Trippier when I hadn't brought him in earlier on as well, because again, he had such a big, like a really high EO as well, especially around my rank. So yeah, it's been a really tough season to kind of really get moving, and it's interesting what you say about like that funk that you've kind of felt and feel like you needed to
Yeah.
just get out of it, right? There's been moments where I've kind of gone,
You
do I
can't
just
enjoy
take
your team, can you? You can't even
no?
enjoy your team,
You can't enjoy
you
your
know?
team.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
no.
So I'm quite happy to take a couple of hits here and there. And, it is very much tempting to take the larger hit, and sort of sort out a bunch of problems there. We'll look at our bus teams in a moment as well. But yeah, it's just been a really difficult season to crack. And like I say, like Diaz on paper looks really good and he might do really well against United. But then at the moment, I'm thinking, do I take another -4 and take out Haaland? Do I take out Haaland, bring in Son, even if it is for a couple of game weeks, right? So I've had like
Yes, I
and
couldn't agree
yeah,
more.
and
Yeah.
this is like everyone's super kind as well. Like whoever I'm either chatting to, or if I put it out on X, and you gotta love X, right? Like everyone will give you like unsolicited advice as well. Like you might be putting out, this is what I got, like for game week 16, and then I get like 20 million things like hit me, sort of go, you should probably have Son, and I'm like, no, I really did not think of that, but thank you so much. Like it didn't even cross
Recency
my
bias.
mind.
Recency bias, yeah, man. Yeah,
It
yeah,
did
yeah.
cross my mind. And then you got others sort of going, oh, you should really think about bringing in Reece James. And I'm like, what are you thinking? Like, what is going on? Anyway, so it's really difficult to kind of, like not get sort of, pulled into the noise basically of, what everyone thinks you should do for your team. And so yeah, look, I'm all about sort of capitalizing on whatever opportunity there is, especially if it means taking a couple of hits here and there. But yeah, I had like a whole bunch of people sort of also go, hey, do you know that Son's going to be away, for Asia Cup? And I'm like, yes, I'm fully aware of what's going on with the schedule.
Yeah.
Look at the damn schedule behind me, kind of thing.
That's not work, guys. That's FPL.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, exactly. This is probably a really good opportunity to just do a big shout out to everyone that's listening on Spaces. Thank you so much for being here. I know the UCL matches are on, and it's always like difficult whenever I've done Spaces and YouTube stream at this sort of time. But yeah, I mean, you can come back and watch this later or listen to it later as well. So, but really do appreciate you being there. And also to everyone in the chat who's there on YouTube as well. Dreaming FPL, thank you so much for the lovely feedback. And yes, please, if you can hit the like button, that would be amazing as well. And yeah, if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe as well. These are
yeah.
very much, off the cuff conversations, lighthearted. We do talk about FPL. I talk about FPL. I haven't done a lot of solo ones actually in a long time. I need to kind of try and squeeze, those in. I think I'm hoping like January will be a different month from a workload point of view as well. But no, I've been having a lot of fun having guests on as well. So, and today, yeah, we've got
Yeah,
Ray.
and I think there've been a few questions as well. Maybe we can answer them at the
Yeah,
end. So,
we can do. Yeah, we can do. So Dreaming FPL will definitely sort of jump back to the questions there. But let's talk about Son. Let's talk about Haaland. Actually, let's start with
yeah.
Haaland. What are you thinking?
I was hoping that he was injured, because
I'm
it
just going to pull
will,
up your bus
you know.
team, as we're sort
Yeah, yeah.
of, yeah.
Please, please,
Yeah.
please do, please do. It's been hit by a bus. I'll tell you that much. So, uh, is when I heard Haaland was out. Obviously, I got that nice jam with the Adingra coming off the bench, and obviously vice captain Salah. So I can complain as much as I want, but I still got a positive green with a -12. Like that's a dub. That's a
Yeah.
dub. Um, So my idea was that if Haaland was out, which I'm still expecting, is I was going to take a -4, and that would be Haaland back to Watkins,
Yeah.
or Haaland to Watkins. So I bring Watkins back, and then Adingra to Son. So I'm not stubborn enough to fix my errors
Yeah.
in life, actually. Funnily enough, so
Yeah.
in FPL as well, I always feel you revert to your personality type in FPL. You know, you can say whatever you want. It takes a while to, find out what kind of manager you are, like you did in your first year compared to your
Yeah.
second year, and eventually you just delve into what your personality type is. I'll be honest with you. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So my idea was because now I've got that sense of taking hits, that I'm just happy to just pop off hits left, right, and center. So, yeah. Pause. So, so my idea was Haaland to Watkins,
Yeah.
and then Adingra to Son, and probably bench Gordon just because they got the Champions League game. There'll be a lot of energy. So the idea
Hmm.
would be I play a 3-4-3, and I'll take that gamble and start Darwin. Because
Yeah.
then if he does start against Manchester United with Trent, with Salah, I'm like, oh my God, I could get another, like, 5, 6, 7 goals against, because Manchester United are just ass. But now that we've got the Haaland news, Mez, and that
It's
he
thrown a
might be
wobble. Yeah.
fit,
Yeah.
because so many people have sold him that if he plays and I captain him and he returns, I could just it's like striking a gold mine, isn't it? I could just go up like a million places because so many people have
Mm.
sold him.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think he's the most sold player at the moment.
Oh, is he?
So
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Let's have
think
a
it might
look.
be. I mean, while we're talking,
Yeah.
I could have a look, or you have a look.
Yeah, I
So
wouldn't be
transfers out.
surprised.
No, third most sold,
Wow.
with
Okay.
over 350,000 people taking him out. So
Yeah.
he is like, that's a lot, obviously.
Yeah.
But I imagine it's going to pause now. So the idea is that my initial plan was I stick with this team, and I've take the risk of not having Son, not having Watkins, and then my initial idea, if Haaland was fit, was probably to do Darwin to Solanke, but I
Mm.
just love what Darwin could do. And look, I know Bournemouth have great fixtures, but it is Bournemouth in regards to their creativity. They are not going to create the kind of opportunities
Yeah.
that you'll see other teams do. So the idea for me is that if I feel like Haaland will start, I'll just roll the transfer and have
Mm.
this team. And on paper, if everyone's fit and starting, I think it's a great team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I almost took out Haaland the other day. I think like like you sort of look at your team after you've had doesn't matter if you've had a good game week or a bad game week. You fix up your next game week's team, right, and just have a quick look at it. So I started having a bit of a play around, and I was like, do I take Haaland out, and if I do, for who? And so I'll be honest, like I did think of Darwin, because I don't have Darwin, and he is, like I say, like against United, it could be a lot of fun. It could be really,
Yeah.
yeah, it could be great.
Yeah. Only
Or
him for that game if he starts. Oh my God. Sorry, I keep
but
interrupting.
no, no,
Sorry.
no, all good, all good. But at the same time, I'm like, actually, Bournemouth have got really good fixtures as well. So yeah, I'd be very, very tempted. I'm just gonna see if I can find um, my bus team at the moment. This is how it's looking, right now. So
Yeah.
I've obviously, got Haaland still there, and but look, I don't have that much bench. I mean, bench cover wise, like yeah, Archer's fine. It'll be okay, I guess. But in terms of like Cole got benched in the last match, for Chelsea, and
Yeah.
so yeah, I wasn't sure. Like that's not been an incredibly reliable transfer, but the alternative, to kind of get on the Chelsea fixtures was Reece James, right? And I wasn't going to go Reece James because he's on my no buy
Hell
list
no.
as
Oh
well.
hell no. Oh hell no.
You
No
know,
way.
you know
No
Andy,
way.
Andy, who I had on the other week, FPL mode, he was like, "You're gonna bring in Reece James. Watch how that's gonna." I was like, "No, I don't think so. I really don't think so." And look, he's out.
Honestly.
He's out for a couple of months now. It's just like,
I know.
it's not even about him being a troll. It's just, he just can't stay fit. It's
He's made of glass,
ridiculous.
isn't he?
Yeah,
He's
it's
made
just
of glass, yeah.
so there was
It's yeah. Yeah, but to every to every cloud there's a silver lining, and Colwill came on, didn't he? Now Chelsea were an abomination, but you
Yeah,
know I expect him to start now because they really are like running out of defenders.
yeah,
They're all
that's right.
injured almost.
That's
So
right. That's right.
yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, like if we look at the fixtures as well, like while we're chatting, about our teams, I mean, they are good fixtures. I mean, I think this is where I don't mind taking out Haaland actually, even sort of from a risk point of view. But let's talk about the probability of that actually happening. Like, I think
yeah,
Pep's comments were, and I love how like official FPL sent out like a notifications. I got this notification while I was like doing my morning routine, you know. And the notification was, "Oh, good news." I think it said something along the lines of "good news," from Pep. Let me see what it says, and I was like, "Oh, that's nice. There's good news. Let me see what this good news is." And all it was is that
there's nothing.
Haaland was going to come into training, or come in, not even train. He was going to come in on Thursday. And then they'll assess the injury and work out if he can play or not. And so I'm like, how is that good news?
No, I was making yeah, because part of WhatsApp chats and stuff like the FPL meets chat. There's like hundreds of
Yeah.
people on there in WhatsApp, and I said employee returns to office news.
Yeah.
I literally just put like, so employee goes to the office of his employers.
Yeah,
Who
yeah,
knew? Of
yeah.
course,
Exactly. Never
it's
mind whether he's going to work or not. Like that's a different
exactly,
scenario
yeah, kind of.
altogether, right?
It's like when you go off sick or annual leave and stuff. Usually in your first few days, you return to the office anyway for kind of a re-onboarding for what you missed or
Yeah.
any kind of handover and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's just doing what an employee is supposed to do.
Yeah, yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think it's more of it will settle down hopefully with Twitter and everything. We'll find out the news on Thursday. But I'm still like you. I still like the plan of taking him out
Yeah.
because what he has is not something you can shake off. It isn't, and I'm not
No.
like going deep into what the bones do with the
No,
foot
no.
and all this,
Yeah.
but it's more of you're not, if you do take him out, he's not available in 18 anyway.
That's right.
So because they got the blank, so maybe this is the opportunity for myself and even you as well, considering, our ranks are still seven
Yeah.
figures, is that, well, this is the opportunity to get back in Sun that you and I are talking about.
That's right.
Even for a hit, Captain Salah, I'm very happy to Captain Salah. And even though Nottingham Forest away will not be an easy game, in my opinion, for Spurs, what you're doing, you're setting up Sun for the game against Everton at home the week after, which I think Spurs are going to be, buoyant, let's just say.
Yeah.
Buoyed, excuse me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, I think yeah, I'm just looking at what Dreaming FPL saying. Can you suggest an alternative? Thinking, forget Trippier. But also, yeah, Archer to Solanke this week and then Darwin to Watkins next week makes more sense. Forget Trippier for now. Maybe reconsider when Son Salah go off to AFCON. This is the thing. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I've been dodging bullets with Son, like not bringing in Son in the team, right? And so I've been probably chatting to people that are in two different camps entirely. There's the camp of no, carry on avoiding Son because he's going to go off to for the Asia Cup in about 4 game weeks basically. So there's 4 more game weeks of sort of hiding behind your couch every time Son is playing, right? And then there's the people, yeah, and then there's the people who are like, no, just bring in Son now. Like, don't kind of that's 4 game weeks. That's going to be really tough, right?
I
And
agree.
yeah, so I'm kind of like, the sensible manager in me is going, no, don't take a hit to bring in Son because it might not work out. But then like you were saying, like with your -12 as well, the other side of me, like the first season version of me, who took 48 hits, not 48 points worth of hits, 48 hits I took in my first season, right? That manager in me is saying, fuck that, just take the hit.
That's
Don't be
that's minus
stubborn.
192 points,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
That's
it was a lot. It was a
amazing.
lot. Yeah, it was a lot. But I finished at 190k. I'll take that today. I'll take that.
Amazing. No, no, no. You get me too. Um, it's funny you say that, yeah, because that's why I bought Alvarez. Even though Alvarez is part of my -12, he's got Luton away, he's got Crystal Palace at
Yeah,
home.
yeah,
And I'm hoping I'm in a position where I can bench him because hopefully they'll have a double in game week 20.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think you can. I agree. What I've realized this season, or what I'm realizing is you can't really plan more than 3 game weeks at the moment.
No.
There's
No.
too much, there's too many
Yeah.
pieces moving. There's too much who's hot, who's not. Everyone was dissing me about Udogi. Suddenly he got a goal,
Yeah.
after being crap for basically a month. And I only didn't take him out because I'm like, why take out defenders? They hardly make any points.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
week I was more of a, well, I've already taken a -4. Let's just completely change the team.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just going to be FPL this week. I'm really um jealous, actually, envious of people who've already made the moves. I'm
Mm-hmm.
already envious of people who took out Haaland and bought in Watkins, for example.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, at least the decision's made now. My issue now, and with you as well, is we're going to be there the whole time thinking, bloody
Do
hell,
I?
like, do
Don't I? Do I?
I want
Don't
Son?
I?
What do I do? Oh, will Haaland
Yeah.
start or will he play the whole time? Now, if I do keep Haaland, am I going to captain him? I don't know. It's just.
Yeah. Well, this is the issue. This is the issue now, like with the Haaland, sort of side of things, where I'm like, um, I rather. So I know someone who took out, didn't have Haaland, brought Haaland back in for the Luton, fixture, and then
Oh my
is
God.
is now contemplating taking out Haaland because there's, so like just reversing that move basically, and they're doing really well. I think they're in like the top 5k or something like that. So they're doing really well,
Amazing.
but then not the stubborn type to kind of just kind of stick to their guns with that, with that transfer. So yeah, really impressed with how they're playing FPL this season and just doing really really well in general. But this is where it kind of inspired me to not be stubborn as well. And so I'm very, very close in sort of making that move as well. So yeah, I'm probably, if I do go for it, it'll probably be Haaland out, bring Solanke in, and then upgrade. I say upgrade, but part of me wants to hold on to Diaz, but I could lose Diaz as well, and just switch over to Son, because I'd probably want Haaland back in a couple of game weeks time. I don't know if that's going to be
Mm,
against Everton in game week 19. It might be the next one, so I might sort of even avoid, just because Everton are playing so well, right? Like at the moment they're playing really really well at home. Whatever Dyche is doing, he's doing really well. So yeah, it's working for them. So I think it might not be as easy as what we think. I mean, even the Luton fixture, like Luton still managed to get a goal in, right? I just feel like some of these teams are playing so much better on their home turf that we need to kind of recalibrate our thinking around some of these
one
teams as well. Like Bournemouth,
100%.
for
Yeah.
instance, we need to stop thinking that Bournemouth are, like a crap side. They're not a crap side. And it's the same with like Fulham as well. Like Fulham have just bagged, I don't know, 10 goals in the past
In
week
the
or
last two
so.
games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, we need to kind of like recalibrate our thinking around some of these teams and look at them for what they are right now, rather than the what we talked about earlier, their historical sort of, how they've been playing previously, or what they were like, last season or the season before, or even as a team as a whole, that some of these teams are playing a lot better. So I just don't think the Everton fixture is going to be as easy as what we think as well. So, on paper. So, yeah, I'm kind of gutted about the Pickford thing. It's so weird. I took out
Yeah.
Pickford
Oh,
on my wild
likewise.
card. But,
Yeah, likewise.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine. Like,
But
I'm,
it
I'm
made
glad.
sense at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've made such a pertinent point, is that we need to stop thinking everyone's crap or
Yeah.
teams are crap. They're really not when they're at home. Like, you think Tottenham are going to have an easy time with Nottingham Forest at the City Ground? But sorry, I think they call it the City Ground. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to have an easy time over there? No, they're not. Nottingham Forest at home are a decent team, and they are not going to open up the floodgates to allow Tottenham to run through them like Newcastle did shockingly. I couldn't believe the way Newcastle played against Spurs.
Yeah. Oh, gosh.
It was petulant and naive and stupid from Eddie Howe, I must be honest.
Yeah.
Forest will not do that, and there you go. Now you have to look at that other side as well.
That's
Of,
right.
well, a good example is, I think Luis Diaz is going to be more threatening overall consistently against Manchester United at home than Son is away. But it's that FOMO aspect.
Well,
But
yeah.
when looking specifically at your team as well, are you quite tied to keeping Trippier?
Um,
Because you could actually, I've got the -4 right there. Trippier and
yeah,
Diaz can be to Son and an affordable 4.5. I'm pretty sure you can
yes,
afford that.
potentially, potentially. Um, yeah, it's a really tough one because like Trippier's been really good, but also very
Yes.
inconsistent as well. And I don't know if it's, we like I don't know if it's just because he needs a rest and he's obviously getting that rest, getting the fifth yellow as well. So, he'll be out for the Fulham fixture. But then they have got decent fixtures, after that as well. So if we look at what they've got coming up. I mean, okay, look, this is an away fixture, so now I'm thinking Newcastle are just shit away at the moment, which
Yeah,
isn't
sure.
great. Like, it's not how we want to be thinking, right? That just makes it really difficult to have a 7 mil. I think he costed me 6 point. I think I bought him in at 6.5 or something like that. But he's 7 mil now, right? Like it just doesn't
Mm,
make sense if like Newcastle are going to play pretty abysmal, in all of their away fixtures. And if we look at what they've got coming up, I mean, yes, they're Fulham at home. Trippier's not playing. They've got Luton away. They've got Forest at home. So yeah, maybe we'll be okay in 19. But look at
yeah,
this fixture run down here. I mean, that's further away. So yeah, I could probably
incredible.
take out Trippier, just because like the next home fixture, realistically for Trippier anyway, is going to be Forest, and you're right. Like, even Forest away. I know like Newcastle at home are really good. I mean, from a defensive unit perspective, it looks like Botman will be back soon. It looks like Burn is due back soon as well. I think I saw something,
Yep.
suggesting that Burn's going to be back soon. So, yeah, we don't know, right? But then they've got Liverpool away. Like, that's not going to be easy at all. And it's an away fixture. But even City at home, it's not going to be easy either. So,
Mm,
yeah, I am
of
tempted.
course. Of
Yeah. So
course.
it's definitely on my mind. But when we think about defensive players, right? Where do you go for the defensive players?
Yeah.
Like
You go
let's
big or you don't. Yeah, you go big or you don't go at all. And, I've gone big, the biggest with Trent, and you obviously have the second biggest in Trippier. But it's kind of, again, it's that thing of, playing, very short-termism, if you like, and try and be dynamic as you can. And that's the problem is that,
yeah,
I love, I love to keep Trent, but I understand how this can move. If Trent has a terrible game
yeah,
in game week 18, I might be like, bloody hell, they're playing Arsenal next, my team. I do think we'll score a goal at Anfield.
yeah.
So, it's yeah, it's so ridiculously recency biased this season, isn't it? Like we're changing in a dime. If Son
Yeah.
didn't get those two goals, I wouldn't, or goal and two assists, I wouldn't have even thought about him bringing him back this week. I always
Yeah.
wanted him back in, Mez. I always wanted him back
Yeah.
in. But now I'm like, oh my God, I think I really need to get him back in. But the problem is I'm starting to not be patient anymore. That's something I've realized because I'm having such a bad season.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I wanted to just pull this out really quickly to kind of show like we were talking about this briefly, but so this is like the team's previous form versus recent form.
yeah,
Yeah, really really good like charts that like FPL Under the Radar are doing. Actually, I'm gonna grab one of the guys to come on as a guest soon.
absolutely.
Yeah, I'll sort of keep under the wraps who that's going to be from the Under the Radar crew, but yeah, managed to twist one of their arms to come on over sort of Christmassy sort of period. But yeah, this was really interesting. Like just to see like previously good, recently good. That's great. But like just to see Liverpool's form, dropping a little bit there. Has been a
Yep.
little bit disappointing because yeah, even I've been on edge. Like when I've been watching them play, I've been like, oh my god, what are you doing? Like, come on.
Mhm.
But I'm hoping that I'm glad that we're at the top of the table. I'm really, yeah, it'll be very exciting to see the United match there. But Chelsea's form has dipped as well, and Villa, interestingly, even though like they've just been getting some consecutive, back-to-back wins. I mean, beating your guys, and then City as well. Yeah, it's just
And
phenomenal.
Spurs as well. Spurs
Yeah,
away. three incredible results.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. So I'm actually slightly nervous when we play Villa now,
Hmm.
just from a like the that away game. Yeah, it'll be interesting. But this was really interesting. Like like the previously bad, recently good, and this is where like we're seeing the Fulham and Bournemouth obviously just kind of shining here, and
Mad.
yeah, it's crazy. And Everton, look at that. I was a little bit surprised to see sort of Man United tucked there behind
I
there,
know
but
it's ridiculous. How are Man United still trickling
I
along? They're
don't know.
so bad to watch, and like everything's so bad.
Yeah, I have no
Oh,
idea. I have no idea. But it's yeah, there you go. They are there.
oh,
But
lol.
yeah, I mean these we're not too sort of, surprised about, I guess, like the ones that are down the previously bad, recently bad. But yeah, like it's just interesting to see these
The
guys and
the Spurs one has shocked me because yeah, the expected goal is so high, but they've still lost four in a row or something like
yeah,
that, something ridiculous, or four
yeah,
out of five, and then smashed Newcastle. Yeah,
yeah.
they're just yeah, you just don't know what you're going to get with them at the moment, isn't it? They really are like a box of chocolates. It's crazy, but you feel like you want to have something there
Yeah.
offensively, which is pretty much Sun. But around that as well, this is just a complete, just out of the blue. He might even be in here, but
Mm.
we don't have Sun, and
Mm.
we're looking for punts.
Mm.
And what other
What are we
punt
doing?
can you think of from Spurs than flipping
Bruce
Richarlison, who looks
Charlison,
like
yeah.
he has got his space in that team as the number nine
Yeah.
stroke winger?
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't even have to
It's
answer the question, but that's what I'm talking about. We're looking at these kind of idiots.
exactly. Exactly. Actually, you know what? We've got a FPL Australia group chat, and I was out. I don't know what I was thinking yesterday. So we had about 30 degrees of heat over here in Sydney. It's been phenomenally sort of hot over here. I think the weekend we saw something like 43 degrees, 46 degrees. It was just insane on Saturday. And yesterday,
Jesus.
it seemed like a really good idea to play 2 hours of tennis in the heat, and it was about 30 degrees. But yeah, I had a great time. Like it was great. It was really good. Really good tennis match. A couple of rounds of it as well. Anyway, I came back to the group chat, and there was like a lot of good conversation about chocolate, and I'm so reading this conversation about what is going on. Why is everyone talking about chocolate? I mean, in this group chat, and it's making me crave chocolate anyway. But I eventually found what it was. I think I just asked in the chat, like, what are we talking about? And someone mentioned how, with Chelsea, they're like a box of chocolates. You just, and immediately my mind went to, oh, you never know what you're going to get, right? So,
Tom Hanks, man. Forrest
yeah,
Gump,
but
come on.
but that's the second time I've heard the box of chocolates reference
Yeah,
in the last
yeah.
24 hours. Yeah, but what I've got, I want more chocolate now.
Me too.
I'm gonna do a chocolate run this morning before my first meeting, I think. Anyway, so Fuad, so he's at the Fuad Bro on X, and he does these really
Yep.
nice data visuals, and I love sort of grabbing every now and then, something that he's sort of tinkered with and put out there. So these are our sort of 25 under, yeah, 25 under 15 differentials, yeah,
Under 15%, yeah.
50% ownership, yeah. Um, anyone that sort of stands out from this chart for you? So obviously, Trent, you've already got Trent in the team. So
Yeah,
expensive, like I'm like
yeah.
struggling to find 1 mil, at the moment to bring in Son if I wanted to upgrade from even Saka, but I don't think I'm going to remove Saka, to get to Son. So the only way I can bring in, a Trent, it would be to sacrifice Haaland and then sacrifice, bring Haaland back and then remove, Salah when he goes to AFCON, and then you've got, obviously Son going to Asia Cup and everything. So it is, compromising there.
Mm.
Between some of the players that we would love to have, but I don't know. So you've had Trent for like just one game week, right? Do you see yourself holding
Yeah,
for
and
longer?
I should, considering, the kind of surgery I did with open heart surgery I did with my team, is that, he plays obviously Manchester United, and then during the blank, there's no reason to take him out,
Mm,
because got a fixture, and a lot of us are going to be trying to hold our Man City assets if we can. rather
Yeah.
than sell him if we decide to keep him. But it very much is okay. Just think about a 2 3 year 3 game sprint, and then from there look at if you feel Son is the right person to bring back in.
Mm.
I have a Dingra there who's been really, really good for me considering his price. You know, he's only 5 million.
Yeah.
He's got me, I think, 3 returns since I wildcarded him. No problem with that. He's only 5 million.
Mm.
Apart from that, there's no one that really excites me. Cunha and He-Chan are great shouts, like especially Cunha because he takes a forward spot, and the forwards aren't. Eventually, we're all going to get onto the forwards, especially if Man City have that double in
Yeah.
20. We're
Yeah.
going to want double Man City attack.
Do you think that will happen?
And then Watkins.
Do you think that will happen? I was like reading something
Yeah, a
about
couple.
that we may not, we would have heard about that double already, um,
That's true.
but yeah, we
That's true.
haven't. So
Mm.
may or may not happen. Not sure.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Yeah, you're possibly. Yeah, okay. But even if we don't take that into consideration, is
Mm.
that Cunha doesn't take a valuable midfield spot,
Yeah, true.
because there's so many amazing midfielders to have. You're like, okay, 5.7. Okay, he's away to Liverpool. I'll bench
Mm.
him.
Yeah.
While with He-Chan, because it's a valuable midfield spot and he's just been incredible, is that you feel kind of like, well, it's even though he's only point 0.1 more than Cunha, you almost feel indebted to play him perhaps because he takes up that midfield spot.
Yeah.
While with yeah, so anyway, so I like Cunha. Mikalenko has been brilliant for a few people that I follow on X. He's been absolutely incredible, but not someone I'd really look to bring in because I'm like, I'm okay with the team I have at the moment. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think really it's Cunha, He-Chan, and Trent. But Cunha and He-Chan you could probably keep for the long term, but I think Trent is very much like a 2 3 game weeks and then see what
Yeah.
happens from there.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm a little bit more comfortable with as well. Like I brought in Mbumo back into my team. I've had him sort of come and go. It's only been 16 game weeks, right? But I've had him like
Mm.
maybe twice in my team already. He's just like coming and going. But like I've had people obviously, like I mentioned, I've had people sort of say, why would you bring back Son? Why would you bring Son in, even if it's for like 4 game weeks? It's only a few game weeks. Like why bother, kind of thing. There's
Yeah,
probably other transfers that I can make, but I've had Mbumo less time in my team, and that's obviously forced with an injury. And the plan would have been to
yeah,
keep him, up to game week 20 with the, possibility that they were going to have a double as well, of course.
exactly.
But also,
Yeah,
riding out the blank,
yeah.
as well. But obviously he was injured, so I took him out. But he only lasted in my team for 2 game weeks before I,
Likewise.
brought him in, took him out. So if I treat my transfer, I feel like I kind of do need to make some short-term transfers, and it might be that
Mm.
it's only for 2 to 3 game weeks or 4 game weeks in the case of Son.
Yeah.
Do I just make those because the probability of them, getting those returns is very high, right? But then, like you say, it's Richarlison the play instead. Like I could make one transfer and just keep Haaland in the team, take out Diaz, and bring
Yeah.
in Richarlison, who may play 9.
Yeah,
Don't
it's just
know.
like we're,
Don't
we're
know.
almost embarrassed to even mention about Richarlison. But look, I mean, look, and this goes towards myself, let alone other FPL managers. You really can't have them all. Like you
No,
can't,
no. Yeah.
the -12 became knee jerk,
Mm.
but it's kind of like, look, if I'm gonna do this, I need to ride it out a little bit and see how it goes. So if Haaland is declared fit, then you keep your team how it is. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? And rather than flip flop, flip flop, flip flop all the time, that you're not actually you're chasing points
Yeah,
rather than
that's it.
actually getting any.
That's it.
You
Yeah.
know, and I did that with Nketiah, I did that with Gordon, I did that with Son,
Mm.
and it's kind of like, I did it with Mbeumo and same like you. I started with him, took him out, brought him back in. The
Yeah.
guy's injured, and now it's kind
Yeah.
of like, okay, I'm flip-flopping as well. I think we should stick to some of these gambles we're taking,
Yeah.
and
Just
someone like a
long enough.
Richarlison, as
Yeah.
as ridiculous as it sounds with Richarlison, and I agree with you, is that so ridiculous, Richarlison. I can't believe I would said it. But it's kind of like, okay, well, are you doing it to cover Son, or are you doing it because he might actually do something? I'm doing it because I actually think he might do something.
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
But Do I think Richarlison will get more points than Gordon? No. So I should go for Gordon rather than get Tottenham cover.
Yeah.
And potentially, maybe when I got Darwin, I was like, Salah's not enough. I need to cover more Liverpool. When what I should have done is kept Watkins because Watkins is nailed all the time. He
Yeah.
is their main man
Yeah.
rather than Darwin, who is as wasteful as anyone I've ever seen recently and who's not assured to be in the team. You can't tell me Darwin's in the first 11,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah. Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you.
tough, tough.
I think if I was to go to a defender, if I was to take out Trippier, let's say, and go to a defender, at the moment, I think Pau Torres was like on my radar, just because
Yeah,
again, Villa
yeah.
are keeping clean sheets, and yeah, there's still a couple of good fixtures to go. So yeah, could be good. But yeah, I've
You
made
don't
so
mind
many
benching him, isn't
defensive.
it? You don't mind benching him in at that price.
That's what,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But then at the same time, I've made so many defensive transfers, and that's the other thing. Like, I feel like I'm not really attacking, the game weeks, right? I've made so many defensive I've brought in Colwill. Like just looking back at my team, like from a transfers point of view, right? So if I show you, is it in game week history, and where do I find my transfers? Is it down here
Go all
somewhere?
the way to the bottom, and there's
Yeah, there we
transfer
go. Transfer
history.
history.
Yeah.
Look at these. Look at these. I've gone Cash to Colwill. I've then gone, Lascelles to Pedro Porro, Areola to Dubravka, Simicast to Lascelles. So in the last, 3 game weeks, I've made about 4 defensive transfers.
You've done Simicast like loads of times in and out.
Oh, that was my wild card. That was like,
Of
I
course it
can't
is. Sorry,
decide. I
sorry,
can't decide.
sorry.
That's like me sort of going, I mean, it's just been ridiculous, right? So, yeah,
Yellow or
it's.
orange, yellow or orange.
Blue pill, red pill.
Yeah, I know, I know, I know. Oh
Oh
God.
man. And so yeah, like I could just roll. That's the other thing. I could just roll.
I know. Yeah, we should.
Should
I
just
look at your
roll.
team and I'm like, that's a banging team.
Yeah.
But if Haaland doesn't make it, you don't have City cover,
No.
and the only one who's going to play is Archer, who's not even assured to start.
No. No. Yeah, it's
So in
not.
your position, I can understand why you're like, you know what? Forget the fact that Haaland might not be available. I don't really have anyone covering him. That's
Yeah.
almost the position you're in.
That's basically it. That's basically it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there's yeah, I haven't decided what I'm gonna do just yet. I love how like we've gone an hour and 20 minutes and we're sort of like, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Oh, I have
I
no
have no
flipping idea.
idea.
I legit wish Haaland was red flagged and wasn't available because I
Yeah.
love bringing Watkins and Son back in.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
now I don't
I
know
kind of want
because
it to be the
Haaland is the
outcome.
best asset.
Yeah.
Agree, because Haaland is the best asset in the game.
Yeah.
He is, in my opinion. So,
Yeah, I agree. I
bloody
agree.
hell.
Let's take a couple of, there was a couple of questions. There's also like 13 people watching. Hey, 13 people. Lovely to have you in the YouTube chat. Please hit the like button, if you're enjoying this content as well. And yeah, please subscribe if you haven't as well. Great to see you there. But yeah, let's go and sort of grab some of the questions. So I think we had, I think it was Dreaming FPL. So Dubravka, Pedro Porro, Gabriel, Simicast, Lascelles, Palmer, Saka, Son, Salah, Gordon, Haaland,
Yeah,
Darwin. One free transfer.
yeah. There's a lower one. There's a lower one. I'll read it. I've no
Oh,
issue
is there
reading it.
is there a more up to date one of that one?
I
Oh
can,
no, does
yeah,
it
I can see him.
supersede?
So
Yeah,
can
go
you
for it.
suggest an alternative? Was thinking maybe forget Trippier,
Ah,
just do
gotcha.
Archer to Solanke this week and Darwin to Watkins next week. Which I mean, I like both moves. We'll leave zero in the bank after that. Um, I like the Archer to Solanke move because he has 3.8 in the bank.
Yeah, yeah,
Pretty simple
yeah.
as
I
that.
I I think so. Yeah, like I wish I had your problem.
Yeah.
I would totally do that. I would totally do that. And then we've got one from Kaja. So God evening, yes. Or yeah, it's a very godly morning actually. It's so nice over here today, and I'm already. By the way, like it's 25 degrees at 9:20 in the morning. It's mad.
That's
Um,
ridiculous.
yeah, it's very uncomfortable. But then I'm also British, and so I love complaining about the weather all the time as well. So never happy, never happy.
You can take the
Um,
girl out the city.
the struggle is real. I need one of those like I need to turn on air conditioning everywhere. It's
Oh,
mad.
that's so funny.
So if I sell Simicast, I have the exact money to buy Trent tonight. But but it will be for a -4. Is it worth it? When I also have Ariola, Dubravka, I might sell one of them for a -8. Ooh.
Mm. So this is coming from a guy who just took a -12 in
Yes.
myself. I don't. I wouldn't. I don't. I wouldn't see why Simicast would not start versus Manchester United.
Yeah, I think it's definitely gonna start.
You know,
Well, I say
Manchester
that,
United
yeah,
are there for the kill. Like you 7-0 last season, and they were good last season.
yeah.
So this season, this game, I see a minimum of 3 goals being scored, and Simicast is his average positioning is going to be around the halfway line. So I wouldn't do it for a -4 personally. I wouldn't. What are your thoughts
No,
before going to the Bradford point?
no, I agree. I agree. I would hold Simicast. I think, you know, yeah, against United, I wouldn't bother. I mean, like, um, look, Trent is Trent as well. Like,
Yeah,
he's basically
yeah,
playing midfield, right? And yeah, he's looks so good. And I think that's probably the difference that I'm noticing anyway between Trent and Trippier, for example. I know that's, not the question, but the Trent and Trippier sort of conversation where there's like 1 mil between them. Trent's scoring goals. He's taking direct free kicks and he's getting those shots in, and some really good thunder bastard kind of goals, right?
yeah. I
And
mean, he
so
was he was he was trash against Palace from what I saw, but he still got 2 bonus points.
yeah,
Where
yeah.
did that come from?
Exactly, and we see that from Trippier as well, but we don't see the goals, right? Like from Trippier,
Yeah,
he'll keep getting
yeah.
the assists and the bonus points as well. Although yeah, it's been questionable recently. But is he worth like 8 mil? Yeah, maybe. Like when you do that comparison, when there's only 1 mil between like Trent and Trippier now. But no, I would hold on to Simicast in this scenario though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another one from Dreaming FPL. If Haaland is fit, then he thinks Archer to Solanke this week, don't. So what you said earlier, he kind of repeated that bit. Forget Trippier for now, and maybe reconsider when Son and Salah go off to AFCON. Yeah, it's a bit like what I was saying earlier with Alvarez. Is I know there's a blank, but I believe he can do something in these 2 game weeks, and then sell him, or hopefully by then we'll know what's happened if there's a double in game week 20 and
Yeah.
bench him. Is that attack the fixtures now, think about it when it happens, because everyone else will be in the same boat as well.
Yeah.
If Son has these run of 4 games, if I have him, I'm keeping him until then. And if I don't have him, I still want to be, despite everything I just said, Meera,
Yeah.
you and I still want him back in because we know what the guy can do, isn't
This
it?
is this is the
So
thing. This is the thing, and I've like sort of
stupid ass game.
the sensible people, like we all have a group of people that we chat to, either together or individually, right? And the sensible people that I turn to give me some really good, sound, sensible advice, which is, who would be the alternative pick that's going to give you the points, right? And so the
Yeah.
problem is, yes, I've been doing that. I've been sort of picking like Diaz, for example, and I brought in Gordon early, and now everyone's got Gordon, and so now I'm thinking, do I jump off of Gordon actually? Maybe, maybe not, but not for this fixture. But yeah, I'm doing my best to kind of like bring in the alternatives, like the differentials, and just think about like a couple of those picks here and there. But I feel like not having that one player who's, I don't know,
Mm.
50-60% owned around my rank anyway, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And
Yeah.
whatever transfers I'm making, it's just not countering it enough to sort of, like the rest of the team is not
Precisely.
doing well, right? So I then need
100%.
two players to do well versus Son
Yeah.
doing well, basically. So I need at least
Yes.
two players to do well.
Yes. Well
So if
said.
Diaz has a
Yeah.
shit game, Palmer has a shit game, Gordon has a shit game, I'm screwed. And that's what we saw in my game week, right? Like I had 40 points in total after taking, the -4. And so I'm like, well, it just takes two of them. I mean, Pedro Porro returned, which was lovely, but it just wasn't enough. I need at least like two or three more players to do well for Son. If Son goes off, then that's going to impact me. So that's the downside. That's what we're sort of, dealing with as well.
Yeah,
But
we're
then
combination. Yeah,
it's the
brilliant point you
combination.
made. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's combination play, and you're right, especially with high ownership players. Luis Diaz, even if he's 2 million cheaper, for example, he's taking up your sunspot. He has to bang. He has
Yeah,
to bang, and it's a bit like the Darwin thing I was saying with you earlier, and even Trent. These guys have to haul for me for it to
yeah,
work out. There's none of this. Oh yeah, a dodgy assist here and there, and maybe an assist from Darwin. Darwin got an assist off the bench the other day, but he got booked. It did nothing for my rank. These guys have to haul because not only are you going against Sun, you're going against the ownership.
yeah.
So yeah, fully
Yeah,
agree,
that's
Mez.
right.
Fully.
That's right. So Kaja also said, thing is, TAA it will rise in price tonight. Yeah, yeah. I still don't think like taking out Simicast for TAA. Yeah, I mean you can use that money for something else as well, but
Yeah,
personally
I
I
agree.
wouldn't. Yeah, personally I wouldn't. FPL Crusader, humid clean Queensland. Yeah, I feel you. Like it's not as humid over here in Sydney. I should stop complaining because Queensland's a lot more humid. Am I a fool for taking -4 to bring in Tarko, Raul, and Son, and removing Pinnock, Mbumo, and Isak? Ooh. I think the players that you're
Is
bringing
Pinnock
in are
injured?
good.
Is Pinnock unfit?
I don't
Is
think so,
Pinnock?
but they're blanking in 18.
Yeah, in
Maybe that's the
18.
reason why. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Not sure.
yeah,
But
but I wouldn't. Yeah,
no, I don't know if I'd. I mean, it is yeah, it's a tough one because I think like again, Jimenez could play really well, but then who are they playing? They're playing. Oh, I don't know. Actually, they're playing Newcastle, and Newcastle are at home. Is it the game week to bring in Jimenez? Don't know.
no, but he's probably fixing himself for when Fulham play Burnley in
Yeah,
18.
yeah, yeah.
So
I don't mind
he's
it.
planning forward. Yeah,
Yeah, don't mind it. Don't mind it. Like,
I I think possibly what he might do, and Crusader you can confirm, is that you'll probably bench Raul. So I'm thinking that maybe don't do the Pinnock to Tarkovsky for -4. Who are Everton playing, by
unless
the
it's
way?
exact.
There's a lot of who's doing what this week with our questions.
Yes. Yeah,
Oh
it's a tricky game
God.
week. But I feel like they've all been a bit like that. Every
Away
week
to
there's like
Burnley.
there's so many curveballs, right? There's just so many things that we're looking out for, and I love how our teams are now evolving. Yeah, to free up funds for Sonny. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's the exact sort of money, to achieve that. It seems like interesting. Yeah, and I think we're going to find that now. Like money is a huge issue. Like I've got 1.2 mil in the bank, at the moment, and I've been toing and froing around Saka. Like, do I just remove Saka, bring in Son, just for the next couple of like? But then Brighton's awful as well, so I don't. And Saka's just kind of ticking on. Like he's getting the points, and it's not bad. But I think obviously that recency bias and sort of the explosiveness of Son that we see sort of encourages us to sort of go, oh no, I need to sort of bring in that guy. But
And he's a
yeah,
street kind of player, isn't he?
yeah,
Son. Like you can see 5 goals in 4 games or something like that because he's world class. He'll get into any 11. I stand
exactly.
by this. Any team in the world, he'll get into their first 11, in my opinion. Any team.
Yeah, he's just
I think the
been
guy's incredible.
He's just
Yeah,
been playing amazing. But,
yeah.
like I say, I think it's a combination sort of side of things. I haven't sort of worked out what that is. Personally, I think I'm gonna just hold Haaland and see out like the. I think we've got our deadline. I mean, you can see it on the screen. Our deadline over here in Australia is going to be 5:30 in the morning. So I could wake up at 5. I normally wake up at about 5 anyway, like 5:30. So I'll probably wake up
On a Saturday.
on a Saturday. Yeah,
You're
yeah, my body
mad,
clock. Yeah. Like, what's
mad.
that? What's the sleeping in thing? What's that about? I don't sleep in. I'm up at like 5 o'clock most days. It's just whether I
That's
choose
not
to
that's
do
not that's
something.
not that's not a brag. That's not a brag. Yeah, it's it's not a brag.
Oh my God. I am so productive in that time.
Ugh, she's
But
just
look,
burning herself.
in this case, in this case, I don't mind. I mean, it beats the 3 a.m. deadlines. Like,
Oh
like we
yeah. Oh
have
my
3
God.
a.m. deadlines, Like you remember this from
Yeah, sure.
Vietnam, right? Like there'll be
Yeah. Oh my God.
ridiculous o'clock, matches and deadlines and all of that. So, yeah, no, I'm looking
I
forward
never. I didn't
to.
play FPL when I was in Vietnam. God knows what I would have been like.
Oh,
I only
wow.
played when I
Okay.
returned.
Oh,
Yeah, I only
gotcha.
played when I
Okay.
returned because God knows what I would have been like. Like, oh my God, just to think of it. Yeah, the deadlines would be at 4 a.m. and stuff. I'm like, screw this.
Yeah.
I'd wake up like an idiot and just do my freaking transfers. And you don't go back to bed, do you? You're up now.
Yeah. 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 So Dreaming FPL just said, I'm 2.5k. That's amazing. Well done. I'm loving
Amazing.
FPL right now. I thought I would just throw that in with keep Simicast Robertson out till Jan. Yeah, yeah, and that's what I mean.
There
Like,
you
I
go.
think it just makes sense. Actually, I had a couple of people like just in the last couple of game weeks ask me like, was I playing FPL differently when I was? Because I think I spent at least sort of half of last season in and around 10k, 20k, and then
Yeah,
5k,
yeah,
just because
yeah.
I had a really good start to the season and yeah, majority of the time, and I did loads of travel in that time with no signal and all of that as well. So I have to admit, I was playing a bit more
I
fearlessly
remember,
last
yeah,
season than I
yeah.
have been this season. And that's because you start questioning yourself with how you're playing because when you're not having, you're making sensible moves and you're not getting the instant gratification from those moves, right? And if it's not instant, at least the second game week, that you've brought in that player, you expect some returns. You want some of that ROI, right? But last season, I wasn't thinking about things like that. I was playing a lot more fearlessly. I wasn't even, watching a lot of the matches as well because I was traveling so much. There was periods where I had no signal. I had a week of no signal because I was, I was doing the Inca Trail in Peru, and so I
I
had
was literally
nothing.
about to say, yeah, so you actually
Yeah,
missed the deadline here
yeah, I
and there.
missed
I
it.
remember once
Yeah,
you
yeah,
you got some dodgy Wi-Fi at like a
yeah,
cafe or something like that to quickly make some changes and update on
yeah,
Twitter. It was brilliant.
yeah.
But that's what FPL does. Now, two reasons. Because of the fact that where FPL Twitter is a thing, obviously that just dominates us. That all this news and stuff we have to get it now, and also the fact that the deadline is so far ahead of
Mm,
you have a deadline and that's it. With other games I play like
yeah.
Sky and like Telegraph and stuff, I'll find out the lineups and then I can make changes. And it's 11 players as well. So those games
Yeah.
are a lot more straightforward and easy to do
Mm.
well, actually, I'll be honest with you. But in this game, because of also Twitter as well, you just get done because, if we roll a transfer, our teams look stacked still, isn't
Yeah,
it? But
exactly.
the problem is, I'm reading on Twitter about this and that, and I'm like, oh my God, just delete. You should see how many times I delete that app every week now. It's ridiculous. I delete the app because it's on my phone where I'm addicted to it, not on
Yeah.
my laptop because I'm busy
Yeah.
working. On my phone, I'm like, oh, yeah, what's going You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you start engaging and stuff like that, and now the Haaland news, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake, I should take him out. If I want to make moves, I should take him out. That's ultimately
Yeah.
what I'm thinking. But
Yeah.
you're right, and because you had no time to
No.
even
I had
think
no
because you're
time.
doing something
Yeah.
incredible,
Exactly.
and that's how it should be actually. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. That's how we should play
Yeah,
FPL.
totally, totally. But you know what? Like them Dreaming FPLs just said, as a content creator, you probably have more pressure on yourself. Not at all. Like I only started, sort of doing the spaces and YouTube couple of months ago. It's not been long. It was, started this season. And of course I was doing, the streams with FPL Nim last season with Elizabeth Helenek as well. And that was a lot of fun. But no, look, for me, it's very much around the planning side. Like this is only my third season as well. So I'm not sort of attached to it in the same way. I love the conversation. I love the banter and having these types of conversations as well. I don't take FPL seriously at all, says the person with the planning board behind me, right? Like, I don't take it seriously at all. But but once I've made the move, like, I'm not sort of then going, oh my God, what have I done? And, I'm going to, think about it for days and days and days. That doesn't happen in my scenario.
That's so good.
Yeah, I just kind of let it go because at the end of the day, it's a game.
Compartmentalize it, isn't it? Because it's not important.
No, that's right. And it's a game. And so, from a content creation point of view, I think we were talking about it ever so slightly, before the stream started as well, that, there are a lot of content creators who, it is a bit of a performance, right? There's a lot of pressure on those content creators to do well season after season or game week after game week as well, because, they want the following, they want the likes, the subscribes and, all of that. For me personally, it's fun. I'm enjoying it. I'm doing this for fun. It's not about the likes and subscribes. Obviously, it helps because it means that it encourages me to. It's like one of those, if I'm getting a good response, then I'll want to do it. Great, But I chat about I chat about my shit game weeks and my sort of knee-jerk transfers and rage transfers that I've made along the way as well, and doing a retrospective every now and then as well, and looking back on the terrible moves, because that's the human way of playing FPL. You've got to go, there are highs and lows. And I had plenty of those last season as well, especially when I had people like messaging me saying, did you not know so-and-so is out? And I'm like, no, I didn't. I didn't know, because I'm not looking at my app 24/7. I'm not looking at what's going on. Like like I said, I was like off of Twitter, last week for like a couple of days, and didn't really pick up on what was happening or what's going on. And occasionally I'll message you or someone else and kind of go, what did I miss? What's going on? But there are some people
I
who
love
are
international
on it.
weeks, Mez. Yeah, I love international breaks because I'm like, oh my God, I don't have to check Twitter. I
Yeah,
don't have to think about my FPL team. I can do other things. Like this is almost a self-intervention, or other people as well, is that when international breaks come, you really do compartmentalize what FPL is. Like you said,
absolutely.
it's a game. You should switch
Yeah.
off. And I've even done like space recordings about mental health, how Dream Team really used to affect me, and it affected my relationship initially
Yeah.
because I'm like, and she sat me down and said, why is it important? And I mentioned it. She goes, is it really that important? Sometimes you need someone to just make it so obvious. I'm like, no, it isn't. And during international breaks, I find out that I won't play with my FPL team that much. I might read a little bit of a book or listen to some podcasts I was listening to, or listen
Yeah.
to some philosophical like YouTube videos I like. And the game becomes too encompassing. But I don't think it's because of the game. I do think it's because of FPL Twitter.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
mad.
Yeah.
It's
It's a
it's a
bubble.
minefield.
Yeah, and it's a bubble because you see the bandwagons, right? And you sort of go, "Oh wow, should I be doing this as well?" And then,
Yeah.
after the deadline's passed, you realize actually it is such a tiny bubble in the grand scheme of things, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm finding that some of the people in my mini league that are not on FPL Twitter as well, they're doing really well, and they're sort of,
Smashing
picking,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're playing fearlessly as well, and so if there's anything, I would be doing, I'd be playing a little bit more like I was playing last season, which was just picking players based on how well they are playing, and not really thinking about the team, not thinking about, I wasn't overly thinking about the combination of players. So I don't know if it's just become harder this season or not, but whatever it is, I'm not going to overthink that either. It's just I
Sure.
love what you said earlier, which was you need to be having fun with it. And so, despite sort of the game week that I had fun taking a hit because it's been a while since I took a hit. And so it was nice to take a hit and bring in Porro and, do the switcheroo between my goalkeepers and all of that, before sort of like a wild card period is usually like the last couple of seasons where I've not really touched my goalkeepers, but this time I had to. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to take this season as a learning opportunity, right? And you can't sort of compare to previous seasons as well. So, I was talking to
Quite right.
someone else about this as well. Like, you've got to look at it as, each game week as it comes. So if you're getting a green arrow, and even if it's like 2%, 3% green arrow from your previous rank, right? That's progress. So just focus on those incremental sort of, improvements
That's
that you're
a very good
making,
point. Yeah.
rather
I have to
than
tell
sort of,
myself that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough. It
Well,
is tough, but yeah, I don't know if it'll ever get to the point where I'm so hooked in. Like I'm enjoying, the chatting. I think like if my season was going really well, I don't know if I'd be doing this as well. Like as in like having these conversations and stuff, like
interesting.
on spaces and yeah, because I feel
Mm.
like the fun part of having these chats have been because there's been some shit game weeks to talk about as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Not sure.
But that's wow. Yeah. I mean, my following count has gone down and my engagement count has gone down on Twitter and stuff because I'm not performing in FPL,
Really? Okay.
and
Yeah.
yeah, so previously it would
I
be
feel like
like,
mine's gone up. It's really weird.
I paid, I don't think because you've had it, yeah, yeah, maybe, but also, you're accurate with your content as well. So you're consistent with your content as well in regards to off the cuff and everything. So,
Oh, sure.
the
Yeah.
moves you're making are very much nicely in that element, while mine is very much like, hilariously, my tweets are very much off the cuff. There's no real structure to what it used to be. I'm nowhere near as structured as I've been with previous seasons with
Right.
I haven't done a thread this season. I haven't done a video
Mm.
thread this season. I haven't done a lot of retrospectives with my game week now. It's very much like, yeah, whatever. This is what it is. And I must admit, some of that is probably because I'm a little bit annoyed with my rank. But one thing I've realized is, like anything, is that we're very much, well, what are you doing now? What have you done
Yep.
for me lately? Like the song kind of goes.
Mm,
And
mm.
the interesting thing from another element as well, and this is probably terrible to hear on a FPL centric kind of stream, is that I'm strongly considering that maybe I take a break from FPL next season and see how I do mentally as a test. Because
Mm.
I'll still play my other fantasy games, which I
Yeah.
enjoy a lot. But when when Villa were playing Man City, I should be thinking about, oh my God, I hope Aston Villa beat Man City. I don't care if Watkins scores and I don't have him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should just be thinking about Aston Villa beating Man City, which
Yeah.
helps Arsenal.
Yeah.
But I was in that situation where I'm like, oh yeah, I want Villa to win, but I hope Watkins doesn't score. That's ridiculous. That's
Oh
ridiculous,
no.
isn't it? That's
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And in other fantasy games, I don't have Watkins. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if I don't have Watkins because I'm doing well, but maybe more because, it's kind of
That is
like
so
you can make a
interesting.
check, you can plan because
Yeah.
there's no dynamic moving prices like there is in FPL. And
That is, it's such an interesting
yeah,
point that you raise actually, because when Villa beat Arsenal, my first reaction was Liverpool's going to go top of the table. That was my first reaction. Not the fact that Saka didn't get anything, or
yeah,
it just didn't kind of like for me. I think it's because it's still new to me. I think it's definitely
possibly.
that. Yeah, it's just been,
No,
it's my third season, and so, I spent majority of like my time, you know, like supporting Liverpool, and so for me, those are the games that I would watch as a priority over here. Like I'd probably watch a lot more football than I have done over the years because, watching games over here is challenging in general because of the
of
timing
course.
of them. But I'd always prioritize the Liverpool matches and some of the like the UCL matches or like whatever Liverpool's playing basically, and maybe like the World Cup games, right? That's probably in the Euros. That's probably the most that I used to watch. I'm probably watching a lot more now because of
Mm,
FPL and because I've got players in my team. But
mm,
yeah, I just feel like once I've made a decision in FPL, I can't change it in that moment.
yeah,
I can
yeah,
I can
yeah,
have regrets. Like it's natural to have regrets of bringing in a player and not bringing in another player, or going early or not going early. That kind of thing. But I
yep,
just feel like I can't control the outcome, and because I can't control the outcome, I detach myself from, the outcome side of things and take a massive step back from it. Yeah, I can, you're allowed to feel like disappointed. It's like, how you might feel disappointed with your team member sometimes. Like, I'm only
Oh, all the
joking.
time.
Like,
No,
all
no,
the
no,
time.
no.
Where you sort of want to,
Why
where you
aren't
sort
you?
of want to
Why
go,
aren't you better? Just why
yeah,
aren't you
yeah,
better?
yeah. Your end of year performance review. We need to have a chat, kind of thing. I can't rectify it, right? Like I can't sort of give feedback to my team and say, hey mate, maybe you need to do a little bit more of this. I don't know, get the ball,
Yeah,
in the net, kind of thing. You just can't, and so I just don't want to engage in that. Like I don't want to sort of from a mental health point of view as well. Like I don't want to
yeah, yeah,
overthink that at all. And so
yeah,
I then look at well, I'm generally a glass half full person as well. So I'm then thinking about, right, well, what's the positive in any of this, right? And so I think in my sort of game week tweet that I did, how do you say tweet for X? You can't, it's a tweet still, right?
post,
Post.
post,
My ex
post.
post.
Yeah, you
Oh my God,
post.
my ex
Yeah,
post. So
sounds so
my
dead. It sounds so dodgy, innit, when you say that.
yeah. My post X no. My X post that I did of my game week. The positives that I found in that was obviously Liverpool jumping to the top of the table. That was a huge. It wasn't FPL specific, but I try and look for the positive stuff, the silver lining, and whatever has happened in that game week. And Porro gave me some returns. That was great. Yeah, can't really complain from that point of view. Yeah, the rest of the game week was disappointing, but if I focus on that, I won't be happy. In
Agree.
a nutshell, it's
Yeah.
probably a good note to to sort of end the stream. Ray, it's been fantastic to talk to you. I could talk to you for hours, but I also realised I've got probably a meeting to jump into in about 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, and I got bed here. It's
Yeah.
it's just gone 11:15. But before that, first of all, uh, you know,
Yeah. Last question from
I'm
Dreaming FPL.
okay.
He's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
gone.
Ask the question and then I'll say
Yeah,
some.
yeah,
Then I'll
yeah.
say some good
Would
shit. Don't
you
worry.
would you rather win FPL League, or would you rather your club team win the Premier League? For me, club team win the Premier League.
Exactly. It's
Yeah,
not even close. It's
yeah.
not even
This is a
close. Which
game.
which goes.
I feel like I'm
Is
playing
that's what I
Monopoly. I love
mean.
playing Monopoly. Like I feel like I'm playing, a strategy game basically.
Ex 100%. Like, and this is what I mean is that it doesn't affect my mental health. It
No.
just frustrates me to a point that it shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing. And as an experienced fantasy football player for so long, and FPL only 4 seasons now, is it shouldn't come into my mindset.
No.
Like I shouldn't ponder so much about if taking out Haaland or not. Do it or don't do it, Ray. Just shut the F up and do it or don't do it. That's it.
Pick a side.
I am so it's very funny. I am so precise with work, which Touchwood really works because I'm like, we'll try it this way. If it doesn't work, cool, we'll do it this way, or we'll
Yeah.
try again, we'll learn our lesson. In FPL, I'm a hot mess.
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe that I'm an operations manager for a few departments. You'd think, oh yeah, Ray can't even manage his own dinner when it comes to FPL. Um,
Oh dear.
but but so I know you're avoiding me hyping you up, but tough. Mez, what you've done, first of all, as a person, you're brilliant. Like I truly consider us friends, and it's really cool because we'll just like message here and there, and if we can have a call and stuff, and very comfortable that I feel we trust each other, which is fantastic. But also with what you're doing with your channel is brilliant. I think one of the things we spoke about was you kind of want to stand out a bit, find your own niche, as to more than just being a female who's doing content. It's more of okay, you're a female doing content. There are not that many out there, but it's more of what can you tap into as well that makes you stand out more. And by doing this is brilliant because we're on Spaces, we're on YouTube, we're on Zoom. Like I've got all these different things open that you're finding in your own niche, and the interface is brilliant. And I just want to say, like, as your friend, I'm really proud of what you've done, Mez,
Oh,
and please just
thank
keep it
you.
up. I'm really excited about where this journey is going to take you, and yeah, just keep up the fantastic work. Seriously.
Thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank you so much. And yeah, like I say, thanks for encouraging it. And yeah, coming on the show finally. Yeah, it's been great to talk to you. Like I say, I could talk
Yes,
to
man.
you a lot longer as well. And I'm sure we'll be chatting during the course of the week, sort of going, so what are we doing about Haaland?
What are we doing hard, for fuck's sake?
what, what are you thinking about?
We'll be no closer. On Thursday we'll have one answer. On Friday we'll have another answer, and then there'll be a voice note saying, "Look, what are we
That's
fucking
right.
doing?"
Yeah. Oh my God.
Should we just do the same thing? It's like we're holding hands, we're jumping off a cliff. Should we do it together? And I think that's what's going to happen. You and I are
Yeah.
just going to have to take like a blood oath on what we're doing with Haaland this week.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think that's what it's turning
Awesome.
into. Ray, thank you so much. I really do
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. It's been wonderful to chat to you, and I haven't laughed so hard, in the morning before I go into a meeting as well. Everyone's going to be like, "What have you been up to?" I'm like,
What have you been up
"Well."
to?
But thank you
Uh,
again. Thank you to everyone that
of
tuned in on
course.
Spaces as well and on YouTube. Very much appreciated. Like it's really tough when the matches are on, UCL's on, and things are going on in general. But thank
Yeah.
you for giving, a bit of your time in the evening, morning, afternoon, whatever time it is for you. Really do appreciate it. Please like and subscribe. It does help, like from there's been a lot of new people that have sort of landed on my YouTube page and stuff like that. I didn't realize like that the whole
Awesome.
like and subscribe thing is a thing. Makes a lot of
It's a
sense.
big thing.
So I've been saying it a little bit more as well, just because it's sort of brought my content to other people's attention, and that's really nice as well. So. But more than anything, I'm enjoying having the conversation with you guys as the FPL community. So thank you again for being there and for supporting as well. But hopefully catch you again soon. I'm probably going to be back next week with a guest again next week. So yeah, as we sort of run down to the end of the year, it's coming around really, really fast. So thank you again. Thank you, Ray. Have a great
Of
game week,
course.
everyone. Green arrows to everyone. Good luck. Good luck to us all with Haaland sort of decision making that we're doing as well. But yeah, take it easy and speak again soon.